Hiya. I thought I'd cheer myself up. What better TV programme to watch to cheer you up than the news, said no one ever. And it covered two items, both of which kind of enraged me, but both of which I think we should open debate on, both things. And I want opinions, because I'm going to share mine. Strap in. We're going to deep dive, me and B-Dog. Here we go.
This is BBC One in Yorkshire. Now the BBC News with Rita Chakrabarti and Phil Bodmer at 6 o'clock.
Today at 6, a ban on smoking in some outdoor areas like pub gardens is being considered by ministers.
On Look North in half an hour, the fight against increasing rates of shoplifting and the thieves who are stealing to order.
Good evening. Smoking outside in pub gardens, restaurants, playgrounds and sports grounds could be banned under plans being considered by the government. Health experts have welcomed the proposals, but some businesses are concerned about the impact that an outdoor ban might have. The latest research shows nearly 6.5 million people still smoke in the UK. Almost 75,000 people die every year as a result of smoking, despite the ban on indoor smoking across the UK being in place in 2007. Our correspondent Danny Savage has been to York to hear from smokers, non-smokers and businesses which could be affected.
We all know smoking is bad for our health, but plenty of people still choose to do so. So what about the latest idea to restrict it? Ban it in pub gardens and outdoor restaurants in England and possibly elsewhere in the UK.
Remind everyone that
We showed the Prime Minister's views to people in a pub garden.
over 80,000 people lose their lives every year because of smoking. That's a preventable death. It's a huge burden on the NHS, and of course it's a burden on the taxpayers.
So what do they think?
Is the woman on the right deliberately trying to get on
We're also
television?
having a drink in the sunshine here in York. Some people lit a cigarette and you smelt it.
Oh no, I smelt smoke and now my human rights are violated. Mind you, as a smoker, on the other hand, I don't like smelling other people's ciggy smoke while I'm eating, thank you.
And you don't
So
want to do that?
I personally don't want to do that, and I have to say that I'm anti-smoking.
Unless you're banning it full stop, there needs to be places for people to have a smoke. But whilst we're eating, I don't particularly want to smell it.
I think it's ludicrous, personally.
Simon runs the pub and 6 others.
I think it's another restriction on hospitality trying to survive. It's going to impact our sales, and it takes away the freedom of choice for people who want to do something outside where it's okay for them.
If you are a smoker and it is what you like to do and to be outside, I kind of think maybe you should have that freedom to smoke outside. Not children's playgrounds, but I think in a pub garden, yeah, but in a sectioned off area.
Health authorities say there is no safe level of exposure to second-hand smoke. Making it more difficult to light up in public could be on the cards. Danny Savage, BBC News, York.
Now, two things come to mind here. Firstly, since last you saw me, it got dark, so sod continuity. Hey. And the second one, I do smoke. I smoke often. I don't smoke all the time. I've certainly cut down from where I was a few years ago, where it was like every 5 minutes. But I think a fair point was made there about, like, if you're eating, you don't want to be smelling people's cigarette smoke. For me, that means if I want to smoke and I go outside, I can smoke outside. If they want to eat inside. Mind you, some restaurants, if they're going to have al fresco eating, as a reasonable man, I wouldn't light up in front of people eating. I certainly don't think that it's legislatable. Is that a word? 'Tis now. I don't see how people can legislate manners. For me, if somebody's eating, I won't smoke in front of them. If somebody comes to my home, I won't smoke if they don't. That's just basic manners. It shouldn't be down to the government to say that. But let's see what Rita has to say. Rita.
Let's get more from Ian Watson, our political correspondent who's in Westminster for us. And Ian, how certain are we that the smoking ban will now be extended in England?
Well, from what I'm hearing, Rita, to be perfectly honest, I don't think there's any ifs or indeed any buts that this smoking ban will be extended by the government. Now, there is going to be a public consultation, but it is possible that the ban will extend not just to beer gardens, as we've been hearing, but to play parks, outside hospitals, outside universities, outside football stadiums. Now, who's been firing this anti-smoking gun within government? Well, I'm told that the star of many of these pandemic press conferences, Sir Chris Whitty, England's chief medical officer,
and employee of GlaxoSmithKline, who make nicotine replacement products. Just saying.
Has been emphasising to ministers that further restrictions on smoking could help get people who are long-term sick back into work, reducing the benefits bill and narrow inequalities in health. But there has been some pushback from civil servants in the business department who are worried, as we've been hearing, about the effect this will have on the hospitality industry. It's also created sharper political dividing lines here at Westminster too, because half of the current crop of Conservative leadership candidates backed Rishi Sunak's proposals to ban the next generation from smoking. But because these proposals affect existing smokers, now 5 out of 6 Conservative contenders have denounced them variously as nannying, as impacting on freedom, and even as cowardly. But with a big majority and with supportive opinion polling, it seems almost certain that the Labour government is going to press ahead.
Ian, thank you very much. That's Ian Watson there.
And the next item is something that was covered both on the national and local news. So we're going to go with the Look North coverage and Phil Bodmer. Phil.
Rita, thank you.
What did you just call me? You know my name is Owen.
Good evening and welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. The fight against shoplifting. We hear from one of Leeds' most prolific thieves who regularly sold stolen goods to other shops in the city. Ross has 15 convictions for shoplifting, but has never been to prison. Shoplifting in West Yorkshire went up by 16% over the past year. Ross says he's now a reformed addict, but estimates he stole tens of thousands of pounds worth of goods to fund his drug habit. As Jim Connolly now reports.
Perfume, always a staple. Box set, cosmetics, leather handbags. A big box of Lego can be £100.
This is Ross. For decades, one of Leeds' most prolific shoplifters.
I'm not allowed in most of the shops around here.
I wonder why that is.
Is that just because you stole so much over the years?
Yeah. And now I'm banned from,
He says he's been clean from heroin and crack for 5 months.
All sarcasm aside, well done that man.
And hasn't shoplifted in that time. Previously, he was stealing £300 worth of stuff every day to fund his addiction.
It was just to buy drugs. I know it's in the tens of thousands.
You've stolen tens of thousands of pounds?
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say, yeah. I think I'd be a gold medalist if it was shoplifting were a sport.
And you know, with him laughing about that, I am starting to lose any sort of sympathy. Too soon?
Experts say 70% of shoplifters are addicts like Ross. But there's no escaping the fact he's a criminal. 23 convictions in 2 decades, including 15 for shoplifting. But he's never been to prison.
He'd have a job getting in. They're all full.
Was this an area you were shoplifting?
Yeah.
Ross says he only targeted larger retailers, believing they could afford the losses, overlooking the obvious cost to consumers.
There really isn't such thing as a victimless crime, though, is there? I mean, shoplifting costs the country billions of pounds. What do you think about that?
People who shoplift are ill, and that's why they're doing it.
And now I understand why he's made this video, and other people should listen to what he says. Once again, Neil.
People who shoplift are ill, and that's why they're doing it.
The law currently treats any theft under £200 less seriously, a rule the Home Secretary has promised to remove. This week adding that she wants to end the shameful neglect of the problem of shoplifting. Ross only made money if people were willing to buy stolen goods.
Whiskey, vodka Baileys, Tia Maria, honey cheese, washing tablets and liquid if you can, please, mate.
Messages from a middleman, daily requests to steal to order. And even more surprisingly, his customers also included other shops all across the city.
I get a sick feeling, literally, thinking about what I used to do. And yeah, the guilt.
Ross insists he never used violence. He says he's clean and trying to stay out of trouble.
You say that you only targeted big chains, but The people that work in those big chains have told me they're terrified when shoplifters come in. Can you understand the fear that you put through people?
Oh yeah. Please understand that it's just a simple case of survival. It felt like I felt like I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice, but it doesn't feel like you've got one when you're that desperate.
It's that desperation that drives so much of the shoplifting blighting businesses across the country. And it also raises questions about how society tackles the problem. Jim Connolly, BBC Look North, Leeds.
And the upshot of both of these videos is I found them very annoying and very amusing in equal measure, so I thought I'd share, and I thought I'd take the piss out of them at the same time. Anyway, that's me done. It's nearly 1 a.m. I've been at this since 7 last night, so much love. I think I'll leave it there.